AJ Styles beating Kevin Owens at the house show was cool for the United States Championship last week. I thought that was really, really well done. And I think, if you're going to change any championship on a house show, it might as well be one of the mid-card titles. We've seen the tag titles change hands a few times. The NXT Championship changed hands at a house show, which I was at, which was one of the coolest things I've ever seen live. When Samoa Joe beat Samoa Joe. Could you imagine Samoa Joe? Samoa Joe beat Finn Balor in Lowell, Mass. last April to win the NXT Championship. No, I thought this was cool. I saw Don Callis, I think his name is, the New Japan Pro Wrestling commentator. I know he does a podcast, Lance Stone from Podcast One, and it was on his podcast. He's good friends with Chris Jericho, and he's got great analysis. He's got great commentary, so that's not the problem. I saw him recently say, they had him win the championship at a house show in response to Kenny Omega. It's like, dude, if they wanted him to do that, they would have done it at Battleground. They wouldn't have done it at a house show. Like, that's fucking stupid. Don't overanalyze this. It's a pretty simple decision. They wanted to add boost. They wanted to boost their live event business. And where better to do it than at MSG, And it's not like Owens is hurt. They're still doing the rematch at Battleground. So I thought it was a cool thing to do. Additionally, I think AJ Styles is the best guy to bring back the US Open Challenge that John Cena did. And I thought it was cool that Cena came out and challenged them. I'm glad the match didn't happen. That would be pretty dumb. Maybe down the road. But you just don't give away Cena and Styles for free on SmackDown without any prior advertisement whatsoever. So I'm glad they didn't give it away at random and Owens interrupted. It led to a good tag team match in the main event with AJ and Cena beating Kevin Owens and Rusev. But yeah, I think AJ Styles is the perfect guy to bring back that US Open Challenge. Him against really anyone on the roster. I could see a scenario where Sal brought this up last week where now that he's won it earlier than expected, Owens could very well win back the belt at Battleground, but I like AJ. I like Sal's idea of doing AJ and Jinder at SummerSlam. A lot like Cena and Rollins from a few years ago. But in this case, Jinder wants the U.S. Championship, so he challenges AJ Styles because he's anti-American, obviously, anti-America. So then you do AJ and Jinder for both belts at SummerSlam. I would have AJ win. That's better than doing Cena and Mahal, in my opinion, but that's just me. But yeah, I think AJ could have a great match with really anyone on that roster. Him and Owens again, him and Rusev is a fresh match. I don't know if we've seen AJ Rusev. I know we've seen AJ Sheamus. We saw AJ Del Rio against members of the League of Nations last year. We might have seen AJ Rusev. I don't think we did. That could be a cool US Open challenge at one point. We could see AJ and Randy Orton. AJ and Baron Corbin again. Nakamura, I would obviously say for WrestleMania. AJ Dillinger, AJ Luke Harper. There's a lot of things you could do there with those guys. So, AJ and really anyone on the roster. AJ and Chad Gable again. AJ and Jason Jordan. There's a lot of great wrestlers on that roster. AJ and Mike Bennett. AJ and Sami Zayn. The list goes on and on and on. So I think AJ as the new United States champion is a cool thing. I think the fact he won it at the house show is even cooler. Hopefully they keep the belt on him in the long haul and do more U.S. Open challenges after the feud of the Kevin Owens runs its course. And again, I think he's the absolute best choice to bring that U.S. Open challenge. Because if people don't remember, the U.S. Open challenge was the best part of Raw in 2015. Not even close. And people may hate on John Cena all they want, but he was having great matches every single week with, from people like Rusev and Kevin Owens and people like that to guys like Neville and Sami Zayn to guys like even Stardust and Wade Barrett to Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins and people like that. It was awesome. So again, it's pretty cool that AJ won the belt, and I'm looking forward to seeing what matches he has as the United States champion on SmackDown and obviously the upcoming Battleground pay-per-view in the weeks and months ahead.